Happy Valentine's, traders. I'll try to keep this video short and sweet because I know you're probably busy today. Today was really just one of those days where, pre-market, you kind of, I felt like I was in a really good groove. The two stocks that absolutely killed it today were my first gapper, the main gapper I was looking at, and then the runner-up gapper. So, the two best stocks I was looking at were the ones that did all the moves today. And then somehow, I just absolutely missed all of it. GNPX, I was just way too cautious on, but not for no good reason. It was the second green day. There was no catalyst, so nothing today that was new about it. Plus, overall, it was a super slow week. But today, I want to specifically focus on GNPX. I want to figure out, why was it the one that ran the most? So I'm going to be looking into that one first. And hopefully, we'll uncover the reason for the big move today. Over 100% gainer plus $100 million in dollar volume. So that's just a lot of volume GNPX had. And then today, something really, really bad happened, and it was right as I was about to start filming, and it's something that I say I don't want to do, which made it even worse. And near the end of this video, I'll show you guys exactly what that was as well. And remember to hit that like button if you guys enjoy this content, and if you are totally new here, definitely consider subscribing. I would love to see you again. I would love to see you in the live stream and just have you join this $25,000 challenge. Let's go to the charts. Okay, so I decided we're going to start with FTSI because GNPX has got me all over the place right now, and you're about to learn why. And I got a new rule because of what happened. So let's dive right into it. FTSI, guys, this was our runner-up. So our top gapper, GNPX, was looking pretty good, but I wasn't crazy hot about it. But then FTSI was kind of the second pick, depending on what happened with GNPX. So yesterday we had a big run up with FTSI. We were pulling back to support over here. Let me actually just zoom in on it. And we had a nice little bounce trade. This was in the afternoon. I didn't really want to be trading after 11. I always say that. I don't want to be trading after 11. I've been up since 6:45, 7. It's pretty late over here. Local time, 11 o'clock for me is 5 p.m. and it's just getting a little too late. I've just got finished, an hour and a half live stream. I was doing work pre-market, so I just can't focus that good anymore. I entered this trade. This was actually a pretty nice trade. This was purely because I had a limit order left over after the live stream, and that's why I entered this trade. It was a nice little bounce. Boom, pop up here. I could have held it, and we could have had a smooth trade, 18%. But this would take all afternoon. This would take the whole afternoon. I wouldn't have time for the video. I wouldn't have time to focus. I would be delirious. I'd probably go to bed with bloody eyes. It just wouldn't work. I mean, this trade in hindsight could have been phenomenal, but you just don't know that. This is just one out of every, 10, and then the other ones are all pullback, and it's just, actually this is probably more like 1 out of 20 or something like that. So, in hindsight, you might look at this and be like, well, Alex, why didn't you just hold it? But you just don't know. So I want to be focusing on the morning, because in the morning you can get moves that are also this big. I mean, GNPX went up 100% today. So all we would have had to do is hold it and then sell it around 10:30, and we would have had our 100% day. So, but it takes all the stress out of holding overnight. And FTSI, I mean, it was all right. Had some news. What was that news about it actually? An analyst, yeah, okay, it had a upgrade, so their price target was moved to 3, so that's always really good news. It was a bit of a runner yesterday, gapping up not too much, so it wasn't overextended or anything like that. Overall, I mean, I wasn't super stoked about it, but it was definitely something worth trading. And what I like to look for, and this is what I said on the live stream, this is why I'm a little bit annoyed about FTSI, because okay, this is why. So at 9:45 on the live stream, or somewhere around then, 9:50, I don't know, I was like, okay, so there's going to be probably a stock that is going to start spiking around 9:55, 10, 10:10, and then it's going to have a nice 20-30% move. It always happens somewhere out there. It's usually a stock that, has, might not be the top runner, but something, like FTSI, which didn't have as much attention, but the volume's there, the news is there, the catalyst there, the fundamentals in terms of market cap, shares outstanding, and all that fun stuff. So boom, guess what happens? This thing around 10:05 spikes up, first 8% move, pulls back a little bit, and then another move, and then another move. This thing runs from 10.05 to 10.23, 30%. We could have done this one. This trade 100% had our name written on it. So I was a little bit annoyed that we missed this one. I could have probably bought this bull flag that was forming here, but I kind of get skunked a lot on these. So I'm not crazy about buying those, but buying in this consolidation right here could have been a really good move. We did get a nice little trade on FTSI. The only problem was, I mean, we had a perfect entry. The only problem is I put 300 shares instead of 800 shares. I don't know what happened. I think I had my GNPX window up because I was trying to enter 300 shares on GNPX, and then I switched to FTSI, not remembering to switch to 800 shares. And I don't know, maybe I was delirious. Maybe I saw 800 shares because 3 sometimes looks like an 8. I don't know what I did. Anyway, I entered this trade a little bit too lightly with like $400. And then we were up 5%, and I was like, wait, something's not right here. And it made me hesitate, and I didn't exit the trade. Could have maybe made 20-30 bucks still on the $400, but still, like, this could have been a nice $50-60 trade because we had that perfect entry. If I entered with $1,000 share size. So yeah, it could have been a 6% trade. Yeah, again, 60 bucks. Totally missed out on it. We made 12 bucks. Great. I mean, I'm not complaining. It wasn't a red trade, but it's kind of annoying when you make a very, very obvious mistake like that. What I could have done is maybe look for a pullback and re-entered with the full position size and wait for a secondary break to the upside. But that was no longer the trade that I wanted. The trade that I wanted was a quick bounce, 5-6% bounce to the upside. That was the trade I wanted. Anything after that would have been pure guessing, would have been pure, hope, wishing, yada, yada. And we don't really want to do that. So, missed this trade, didn't trade it again. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go to GNPX and embrace yourselves. And boom, here we are. So I went ahead and removed my trades so you guys don't see them yet. I'll go ahead and pop them up in a second. Yesterday, I think the low was about 1.75, and then we ran up all the way to 2.7. And then we closed, and pre-market, it wasn't anything too crazy. It was about 14-15% pre-market mover. But still, it was one of the lead gappers because yesterday I had a really big green day, and there was basically nothing else really moving. Pre-market, it was just a really slow, we ran the scanner around 8:30, and there just wasn't a lot to be looking at. That's why GNPX was so attractive. There was a few spikers that went up like 50%, but then they pulled all the way back down. And you typically don't want to be trading something that just pulled back all the way with one spike, because who knows what's going on there, and there's not a lot of volume. It's tough to trade those. So with GNPX, let's quickly look at the stats a little bit. 117 million market cap, 27 million shares outstanding, and the float was even smaller at 12 million. So this thing is definitely fitting our criteria. $267 million dollar volume. That's huge. And again, yesterday the market cap was at 62.47 million. So this thing grew like crazy today. Right now it is up 52%, but it was over 100 and something percent for a little bit. Yeah, so big moves. And I don't know if I just said that wrong. 267 million dollar volume and 116 million market cap. Sorry if I mixed those two up. Yeah, so let's go forward a little bit. It's 8:30, here we go. Market opens, ding, ding, ding. I was really cautious because, second green day, this was already a former runner, so it's probably a little bit overextended, I already thought. And then there's no news. There's no specific news today, but I kind of want to go and dig through all the different things today, why this might have been the big runner. 9:55, boom, market opens, and instantly GNPX runs up with the market open. And this was an aggressive pull up all the way, 7%, and then pulled back for just a moment. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, that was a really aggressive pull in the morning, and all week, we've been expecting or experiencing 1 minute pulls, 1 minute break to the upside, and then the rest of the day, they're just pulling back. So I was like, okay, well, there's probably a good chance GNPX that's going to happen because, it's a slow day. Markets are kind of red. Nothing else was gapping. This is our lead gapper, but, why? There's no good reason it should be. Let's quickly review the facts again. US biotech with a low float. It did get, I think on the 11th, No, that was, it was a bit further away, but GNPX got an FDA fast track approval, which is always really, really good news. I think it was closer to the beginning of the month. Focuses right here, I think, on clinical efforts, therapy, lung cancer therapy. It was right around this area where it got the fast track. And that's a really good thing from the FDA. So that was the cause for this big rally. I think it was last month. Let's see, on the 20th. Yeah, okay, so 122, here you can see it. GNPX stock rallies on FDA fast track approval. So that was this whole thing. And then after that, it kind of consolidates. Now, no crazy major news comes out, but some articles trickle out. For example, on the 11th, so just 3 days ago, they had the University of Pittsburgh. They had a collaboration with them. There's also, it's a US biotech, and there's been a lot of macro news about US biotechs. And that's just, with the coronavirus, these biotechs have been absolutely exploding. So I think that might have been a big case for it. There's also probably a lot of hype around what is it? I think on the 16th or 17th, another FDA announcement's going to be made. I don't know. It's really hard to say why this thing ran so much. So I think it was a little bit, buy the rumor, sell the news, but at the same time, I think this thing was just a little bit overextended, and there was probably a really good chance that there was a big short squeeze here. If you go on FinViz, the shares float is only 5.6%. Now that's a really, really small percentage, but oftentimes FinViz and wherever the share float percentage is posted is very, very outdated, sometimes weeks outdated. So I really would take this with a grain of salt. Let's quickly move that out of the way. So I don't know. I think it might have been a short squeeze, but it was really hard to say. Anyway, I wasn't really feeling it at 3 point on this breakup. I thought we were going to have, this candle was going to be a bigger pullback. And let's quickly see what happens, because this is the one time on this ticker where I almost got aggressive. It was right here as we were pulling up higher again, because I was like, oh man, the volume is really here. This is this is definitely the top mover. Everyone's looking at this stock. There's nothing else moving. Let's see what happens. And the next candle we break higher, and this is the one where I was like, should I enter at 3.4? I was just hovering here with my 300 shares, and I was waiting. I was like, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? I never ended up doing it. But that would have been the ticket. And then, the rest of the day, this thing just keeps on running up, and with no real big reversals. I remember here on the live stream, really early in the live stream, we were all kind of thinking, is it going to pull back? I had a limit order at 3.4. Typically when you have a big breakout, you have a little bit of a pullback to that area, but, just didn't do it. Breaks out again, runs all the way up to 4. And then this is where it has a little bit bigger of a pullback. And I get a little nervous here. I'm thinking, okay, 3.6. Big support on the 5-minute, so maybe we're going to pull back to 3.6 before we continue to move to the upside. I really didn't think we were going to break past 4 just yet, and then boom, right away, 420. It was ridiculous. Pulls back a little bit and then just continues moving. It really just didn't stop till about 5, and then we consolidated a little bit of 5. I was really expecting a little bit bigger of a pullback, back to maybe 420 in this area, 415. I had a limit order out here. And it just, completely keeps on running. It didn't really stop till 575? Yeah, 575, just completely goes up. I missed this entry here at $5. Would have been a pretty obvious entry, I think. I should have kept a limit order there. The only reason is I removed my limit order, or I don't even know if I had one. This was the exact moment we got into the FTSI trade, which could have been a good 5-6%, but again, I messed up the order size. And this was the high. After that, we started pulling back, and I felt pretty bearish here. After you have a pullback, after a big run up like that, and then you consolidate near former support like this for a long period of time, it is just not good news typically. And it wasn't long till we did have a big crash down, 2 red candles. Let's keep on going. We had a little bounce here, and then I think we broke back above 5 for just a little bit, and then we had our, let's see, 11:15. So this is. Okay. This is where it gets really annoying, because I'm like at, what was it? At 10, somewhere in this area, 10, I don't know, was it already 11? I think it was like 10:50, where I was like, okay, I'm going to wrap up the live stream. I'm going to remove my limit orders, yada, yada. And that's what I did. I wrapped up the live stream, but I didn't remove my limit orders because I typically just do that anyway before I start filming. And I don't know. I don't think anything of it because these limit orders are typically really far down. And then I was working on the camera, and then all of a sudden I hear like bling. I was like, oh God, what just happened? I just entered a trade and I wasn't even really sure about it. So let me just pull up the trades now. Show trades, apply, and then I'll also do the same on the 5-minute chart. And boom, you could already see that first entry at 2.44, which debatably, arguably, I don't know which word you want to use, was an okay entry. We pulled back one more time and I got, I did a full allocation here because I was like, wait, hold on. It wasn't even a proper entry. So I did, 250 shares and we were pulling back up a little bit. And at this point I was thinking to myself, wait, hold on. It's past 11. I don't want to be trading. What am I doing? I'm in a trade that I didn't even really know was going to happen. And I really should be doing something else right now. So my mind's in all different places. And that is just a recipe for disaster. I was up like 20 bucks at this point, and I was like, I could have just closed it. But I held. And then we had this candle, and then we had this candle, and then I was like, oh man. We had a little bounce here, and I was waiting for a bigger bounce to the upside. We didn't get it, and then I closed the position. I closed the position right before this big candle, so that was nice. So 4.05, as we were getting close to this big support, I closed it. The only problem was, this was a 40-cent loss on 250 shares. I think it was a $90 loss. Dollar amount, it doesn't matter. 90 bucks doesn't matter, it's small. But that's like a 9% loss. And that's really not okay. That's just absolutely not okay. I should have got out of this trade for this small profit when the bounce was weak. I always say, get out of a trade, get out of a support line bounce when the bounce is weak, because that is guaranteed almost. I want to do some statistics on this because I think it's like a 100% chance that it's just going to keep pulling back. Nothing's 100% with stock trading, but I would argue over an 80% chance. 100% chance when I'm in the trade. Just say that. Yeah, so it pulls back and I'm just absolutely devastated. I'm like, I was up my $14 today. I didn't do any trades, whatever. I closed it out, finished trading today. And then this happens. And all of a sudden I'm down 90 bucks and I'm like, what was that? And then, I'm just watching this a little bit, totally frustrated. And it pulls up 10%. This was kind of the trade I was, hoping for, 10% pull up. And I was like, wow, am I really going to go into the weekend with that? And this is when I got a little bit of FOMO, or not FOMO, like revenge trading. So let's just see what happens here. I'm like, you know what? I think we're going to have a double bottom here at 3.9. So I'm going to be ready for it. And guess what? We pull back, 3.92. I enter the trade probably a little bit too early because we pull back all the way to 3.82. And this is when I went from down 90 bucks to down like 130 bucks. And I was like, my Lord, baby Jesus, what did I do wrong? Like everything was going well this week. I was just, this week was a slow week, but I made a lot of good decisions. Then very luckily, we had a nice little recovery. This is what I was waiting for. I had to hold through a lot of this consolidation. I almost cried. And eventually we get a nice little secondary pop to the upside here. And I get out at 4.24, which is just about the near top because this thing pulls back again. And I don't know what it is now. I think it's still kind of just consolidating in this area. Yep. So that second trade got me out of the hole a little bit. Revenge trading is very dangerous. I mean, this could have just kept dipping down and we would be down like 150, 200 bucks. And it would be absolutely traumatizing. So you can see here, we started the day at like 5,800 and I think 85. I checked and now we're at 5,183. I checked my my TD Ameritrade account and we lost exactly $2 today. So here you can see it, monitor account, and we're down $1.94 for no reason. We should have been up a little bit, and maybe if anything at all, we should have, still maybe had this trade. I don't know. It's just ridiculous because I had so much, unnecessary stress that I had to deal with thinking about all this stuff. And now it's, now it's spiking a little bit. So it's really dangerous just to keep trading. Your mind's not clear. In the afternoon, things just take a lot longer to happen. There's no way in the morning, typically I hold a trade for, this long. How many bars was that for a second? 19 bars, so like 19, 20 minutes. It typically just doesn't happen. This thing's breaking out a nice little higher, so we could have probably ended today on a nice little green note. But again, you just don't know how long this is going to take. Am I going to have to hold this till close? Am I going to have to hold this overnight? You know, or is it just going to go down and I'm just going to get completely crushed? You know, so you really just don't know. And I don't know. Why did GNPX gap up so much today? I think it was just the simple fact that nothing else was really gapping, and a lot of day traders were probably just a little fed up with that. So the second there was a lead gapper and there was potential, I think people just ran behind GNPX because there was just a lack of nothing else. Luckily to me today, I end the day very like almost just break even, -$2. That's a really good day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy that I was able to do revenge trading and get back some of my losses, but that was really risky, and you know, I just don't recommend it. So again, I kind of have a new rule, and that's honestly at whenever I close the live stream, I'm going to remove all my limit orders and I'll be done for the day. Now, if we have an incident like WLL or AGRX where the price absolutely falls off a cliff and there's a clear pivot zone without any halts, and there's a nice possible reversal after like a 50% dip, and there's just one out of, you know, once a month kind of opportunity, I'll probably jump on that. But if there's, you know, just like, you know, these little 2-3% bounces and stuff like that, I don't want to be part of it. I would rather save myself for like to read a book or something. I don't need to be looking at a screen all day. It's already been a pretty busy day, so by the time I'm trading, you know, I should just be a little bit more hands off and just, you know, cut it at like 11. Yeah, so that's kind of my new rule I'm setting up for myself. Yeah, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So let me know in the comments below. Do you guys trade GNPX? How did you guys do? It was absolutely insane. I can't wait for more of these gap and goes to happen next week. It was just really good fun trading with you guys today. I will see you then again. So Monday. And if you're still watching, definitely don't forget to leave a like. Yeah, have a great Valentine's Day, everyone. Stay safe. And like always, make some awesome trades. I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.